Welcome to the Goat Show, the show where we celebrate and debate all things great. And gentlemen, Fresh, Deezy, my co-hosts, we're just gonna hop right into it. We got an incredible guest today, a great guest, you might say, and he's limited on time, so we're just gonna go right into it. His name is Dr. Zodiak, CEO of Dr. Zodiak's Moonrocks. If you have not heard about this product, especially if you are someone who enjoys now and again the green leaf, the marijuana, all right, then you're going to have to watch this show, pay attention, because he makes one of the best cannabis products on the market, if not the best. And we're going to talk to him about it. But Deezy, I want to go to you first before we get to him. They were so generous in giving you. I mean, what is this thing? It's like a briefcase of goodies.
We're missing some products because I've been making some content and I'm posting videos and stuff. But what I got in here right now, I got the Pinkies Fuzzy Wuzzies, which if you guys don't know, I'm a production tech for Dr. Zodiak. So I'm in the lab whipping some of these up. It's made with quality and love. All right. I promise you. I'm there every day. I see it. All right. We got the Fuzzy Wuzzies covered in kief. It's delicious. It's bud frosted in kief. You can't even tell that it's just and then we got the snowballs covered in THCA. They're white. You can't even tell that it's weed because they're white, but they are just doused in THCA. What's that testing at? Let's see. 65%. Wow. It's amazing.
All right. Well, I mean, I'm gonna come clean. All right. I don't know what any of this stuff is because I'm not a regular weed smoker. All right. Fresh is shaking his head at me.
Fucking rookie.
I saw Charlemagne with Snoop saying, don't smoke this shit because or Snoop saying because it's high octane. So I gotta be careful. So on this episode, we're gonna talk to you, Dr. Moonrocks. We're gonna, maybe you can help inform me and maybe people out there who don't know about your product or maybe new to smoking weed. Now that's more legal.
Bro, if you're new to smoking weed, stay the fuck away from Dr. Zodiac's Moonrocks for like the first year, bro.
No, no, there's got to be something. There's got to be something.
Yeah, you can smell the bag for sure.
With that, though, Dr. Moonrocks, welcome to the Goat Show. So happy to have you. Something we ask every guest on the show when they come on is if you could have any superpower, what would it be?
I guess everlasting life, if that you could call that a superpower, the ability to just live forever, youthful forever, and bless other people with that gift of everlasting life.
There you go, man. You ready for the singularity is what you're saying. Ready to down into a robot. Listen, man, we were, in researching you or watching a lot of different things. I got to learn more about sort of the thing I'm really curious about with you is your life growing up in LA. I spent, from 2010 to 2023 in LA. Are you an LA native? And it seems like you were really in the LA hip hop culture there. Can you talk about growing up in LA and or spending your time in LA and how that impacted you?
Yeah, I grew up in LA. I grew up in a neighborhood, Linwood, which is like the nicer part of Compton. And I lived there, my younger years, and then I lived in different parts of LA after that. Montebello, Monterey Park, Whittier, Pico, San Pedro, downtown Los Angeles. And I started getting into music, hip hop at an early age. Maybe I was 8 years old. And my sister had the NWA Straight Outta Compton tape cassette. And I remember playing that. And then I started writing the lyrics to the songs at 8 years old so I could sing along with the song, right? You write it down, you memorize it. So I started singing all the songs. And that's kind of how I got into that. My dad was a big record collector. So he collected, soul music, doo-wop, oldies, a lot of rare, cool music. And that's what I initially got into. And then obviously the hip hop stuff was on the radio and I was watching MTV and I was in the rock, I was in the hip hop, I was in the oldies, I was in the doo-wop, I was into a lot of different music, but my main passion is music. And later when I was 17, I started rapping. Later I started producing and Then I went to school for film, and then I started directing videos and film music. That was a big part.
I kind of want to I want to dig into the film side of it because in seeing what you're doing with Dr. Moonrocks and all that kind of stuff, and what you've done in the past, you definitely. I mean, I'm kind of curious what you learned at film school and how that informed like how you look at presenting the products that you create and the whole brand and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, I went to high school for a year. I didn't like it too much, so I went to home studies, and I graduated a year early. I didn't want to go to college at all. And when I was 21, my dad, you know, really wanted me to go. He bribed me to go to college. I went, and I actually started enjoying it. I went to the film realm. It was fun. It was hands on. I started directing videos, short films, and it was a lot of fun. I got my BA from Cal State Los Angeles. But during, my early years at school, I started a clothing line called Sik Fuk when I was 21. I made the shirts. My buddies liked them. We started selling them. Started hitting the tattoo expos, and that's where we started slinging all the shirts. And I was still going to school for film. On these years as the years progressed. Um, I reached out to Killer Priest from Wu-Tang Clan on MySpace back in the day. I said, hey, this is some of my work. I'd like to direct a video for you. I'd also like a verse on one of my songs. He said, yeah, let's do it. So I filmed a video called Hood Nursery for him, and it went on his YouTube and his social media platforms. And it ended up being like one of his #1 videos at the time. It blew up. And that's how I got my foot in the door with, working with, the Wu-Tang Clan, different rappers like that. That was like my foot in the door. At the same time, I was doing a fight series called Felony Fights.
Yes, yes. Okay, so you're in this world, you're doing this thing. How does that idea even come about? Like, because my understanding is it's just people, I guess, out of prison who are fighting. Like, that's basically it, right? Like, how does that idea come about? And then how do you even find these people? And then let alone like get them on camera and film them, getting into it.
Well, the story was, I had my Sik Fuk clothing booth, and we were traveling up to Frisco for the Body Art Expo. It was a tattoo convention. So I had a booth there, and I had a TV. We had the commercials playing, and I went to another booth, and it was the Felony Fights booth. And the dude was there with his wife, and they had the fight videos and the DVDs. And I was like, wow, this shit's fucking badass. It's all guys fighting with no gloves on, kendo sticks, nunchucks, 2-on-2s, like the craziest fight video I've ever seen in my life. So I'm like, hey, dude, I got a big ass TV at my booth. Give me some DVDs. I'll sell them at my booth. So he gave me the stack, and I sold the fuck out of them. I had the bigger TV, so people were buying them for me for 20. Then they were going to his booth and seeing them for 10. And they're like, what the fuck? So, but I was moving a lot of because, I had the big TV, and I was selling them. So that's how we connected. And I started filming and editing for him. And then later I ended up becoming half owner of Felony Fights. But Michael Lynch was the creator of it. He did 10 years in prison. He got out of prison. He started the fight video series. And yeah, a lot of the fighters were people that he knew, from in and out of prison. There was different people that everybody kind of knew, and that's how we just word of mouth kind of. That's how it happened.
And then the follow up to that, I think, is Cage versus Cons, which my understanding is that was more official. That was more of like a
Exactly. We did fights for like 6 years. It was on pay-per-view, DirecTV, Dish Network. It got hundreds of million views on YouTube. And later we did Cage versus Cons, which was really cops versus cons. We had LA Rap Division cops fighting ex-convicts in a UFC style cage. Like bare knuckle, they're fighting with UFC gloves on. There's UFC rules. So that's what it was. And we threw it at the LA Sports Arena. 14,000 people, sold out. We had Danny Trejo hosted. We had Debo from Friday hosted. Rick Ross. During the day, we had a hip hop event. Cypress Hill, Wu-Tang, E40, Killer Priest, Too Short, Dog Pound, bunch of rap. And then at night, we had the fights go off. And it was a pretty sick event. I mean, it was very, very different. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. And we did a lot of promo for it. We had a lot of billboards up. It was a really, really sick event, man. It was like that movie Warriors. You ever seen the movie Warriors? It was like that 2011. Like we had every neighborhood in South Central show up at that event. It was nuts.
And then Killer Priest and like other members of Wu, they did the soundtrack for you guys for Cages versus Cons, right?
They did. We reached out to a lot of the different rappers. We told them about felony fights, and we asked them to make songs about felony fights and cage versus cons. So, we got a lot of cool underground hip hop artists that were down, and we recorded the tracks, sent them the beats, made some music videos, and I flew a lot of them out from the East Coast to attend the event. Some of them actually stayed for 3 months at my pad, and we were just recording music and creating videos and doing stuff like that. So it was a lot of fun. These are artists that I grew up listening to that, I thought were really sick, and being able to do music with them and videos and bring them into this fight world, was pretty cool. Psycho Realm, Big Duke, Sean Price. I mean, we had all these different characters come through. Aguilar, it was a lot of fun, man. Razkaz, all these guys.
That's dope, man. That's dope.
Are you still planning on pushing more fight events like this, or are you kind of done with it? What's your overall feel with it?
You know what? I'm not done with it. I haven't really thought about it too much. I mean, if somebody presented the idea of doing cage versus cons, cops versus cons, a nationwide tour, and they wanted me to be a part of it, I'd be open to that. But as far as, having to do everything again from the ground up, I mean, that was a lot. My role would be a different role. Last time I was just going full throttle from sun up to sundown, 6 months straight, so I was running myself to the bone, and I was the hardest I've ever worked in my life. So, it'd be on a different, title, I guess.
Dude, I would love to see that return. That'd be amazing. So there's one rapper, from my understanding, that you met through this process, Kurupt. And from what I'm reading, that's where I guess the two of you sort of brainstormed the idea for Moonrocks. Is that accurate? Like, how did the idea for Moonrocks come about?
So Killer Priest was also in a group with Kurupt called the Four Horsemen. It was Killer Priest from Wu-Tang, Cannabis, Kurupt of the Dog Pound, the group with Snoop Dogg, and Razkaz. They were the Four Horsemen. And that's how I met Kurupt. I booked Kurupt for the Cage versus Con show, and I started directing videos for him, doing music videos for him. And then I started managing him. I started getting him a lot of money through sponsorships, stuff like that. And later he ended up coming to live in my house in Whittier. I had a house in Whittier. He was living there. I was managing him. And I started a delivery service. I had the delivery service for about 4 months. I had a bunch of drivers. It was growing rapidly. At that 4th month, that's when I created Moonrocks. And I said, hey, Kurupt, would you like to be the face of it? He said yes. And that's how our partnership came about. We did a music video at the house with his brother, with him. And I directed it. We went to Snoop Dogg's house. I gave him a 1/4 pound of Moonrocks. He smoked it, and he had never been so high in his life as when he smoked those Moonrocks, right? So he fell in love with them. He's like, man, these are, super strong and super bomb. I definitely like these. So, he became a big fan. He made a song with Pharrell about Moonrocks. He gave a shout out to the brand. I went there to visit him with Kurupt, and we got some footage of him in the studio with that song. And Wiz Khalifa, Little Bow Wow, all these rappers would come over. He'd get them fucked up off Moonrocks. They'd be passed out on the floor. Picture of them, and then he put it on his Instagram, hashtag Moonrocked out. And then, all these rappers saw it like, damn, I want to get that fucking high. And that's how the craze started. It was like people wanted to get super lit. That was how it blew up. And thank God he put that on his Instagram and his social media. took the brand, it put us out there, in the spotlight. Uh, you know, we had 3D animation. We did the first 3D animated commercial. We had beautiful packaging. We had super good quality. So, with all those things coming together, plus Snoop promoting it, it was just the stars were aligned. And that was the home run hit for me in my existence. That was like the biggest thing that happened. I've been riding that wave ever since 2013.
Is Kurupt still a part of it at all?
No, we went our separate ways back in 2017, and he did his own thing.
Also, when he came with Kurupt's Moonrocks with the like in those glass with the wooden tops, you weren't part of that anymore?
No. And it started off as Kurupt's Moonrocks. The first commercial was Kurupt's Moonrock, just the Moonrock. Then at the end of the video, it said Dr. Zodiac's Moonrock. We came out with his first original OG flavor. Mine came out second. It was strawberry flavor. And then we started coming out with more flavors after that. That's how it initially started. And man, it was pretty wild, man. It was a wild ride for sure.
What I'm kind of curious about is, okay, you're in this world of hip hop and promotion and these fights and all that kind of stuff. And sure, you're starting the delivery business, but what's that step that makes you go, look, I want to get into the production of the actual product? And I mean, how did you have that knowledge? Was it something that how does that even come about where you're like, okay, I'm going to make a product, I'm going to do it this way, and it's going to have, this, potency? How does that all come together?
Prior to that, I've been selling weed since I was 18 years old, throughout my whole college years. And after, I was selling weed. Later, I started growing weed, and there was different concoctions, that they had out there. Similar to Moonrocks. They had honey buds, caviar, different concoctions, different names. And we made ours a little bit different. And I called it Moonrocks, and I trademarked Moonrocks. So I was the one that created Moonrocks, the name Moonrocks, the certain way I made it. Yes. Was there other stuff, similar prior to that? Yeah, but nobody really talked about it as much.
Yeah, like 2020, like 13s to 2015s, we were smoking like caviar, right? It was like it was dipped and sprinkled, but it wasn't like infused.
They had different names for it, but Moonrock is what blew up. And now, before that, Moonrock, they called Moonrock Molly. It was a rock, it was Molly, it was ecstasy. And then after, when I created Moonrock, the weed brand, now when you talk about Moonrocks today, most people are thinking the weed, not, ecstasy or Molly or things like that.
That's dope, bro. And they don't, and you never hear about caviar or honey buds or any of that shit anymore either.
None of that's around anymore. No.
No, now all the bootleg brands are starting to call their shit Moonrocks, but legally they're not supposed to be doing that. And they're just trying to make money off the Moonrock brand. But that's kind of what's been going on, and it's hard to regulate because it's not federally regulated yet. But when it does become, then they're going to get knocks on the door with some lawsuits and shit like that. So
Yeah, with years and years of money being made under that trademarked name, which is going to be pretty shitty for them.
So the message to the bootleggers is Dr. Zodiak has lawyers. So
it is what it is. But and not only that, we've been bootlegged on Alibaba. Our packaging's on there. We're sold in every city in America, but it's from bootleggers buying the fake Dr. Zodiak Moonrock packaging from overseas, filling it, and then them selling it on the street. So our goal is to get in every legal state with the official Moonrock brand, the official quality, and let everybody know, like, hey, these are the real deal. That stuff you're getting on the street is fake, and come try a real Moon.
I'm going to make some calls. I have some people that are licensed producers in Canada. Try to get you across the border, bro.
Funny story is me and Kurupt's wife actually flew to Canada. We did a licensing deal there with a group of people, and they ended up bootlegging the fucking Moonrock brand, our Moonrock brand, and they're called Moonrock Canada now. Yeah, I was this fucking scam artist. He ended up getting busted, and he was selling, I guess, steroids, just a bunch of bullshit in Vancouver. So we went out there, They ended up taking the recipe, and
Those guys are shady because they even claim to be the originator of Moonrocks. They're like, we are the original makers. Like,
anybody that claims that, all you got to do is go on YouTube, Google, type in the name of their fake fucking company, and it'll show you what year they uploaded their first video or whatever. And I guarantee you, it's going to be years after 2013 when you see ours pop up. And also, we have the trademark. But, regardless, like if you type in whatever their brand is, go on YouTube, you'll see what year they popped up. And it's probably 2018, 2019, 2020, 2021. These guys are all fakes. They know it.
bro, why do they use such similar branding to you though? That's the crazy.
Because they know it works, but it doesn't work when you're a biter and you're just, copying somebody. You just look, what's a good example of that? Like, what's a legitimate brand and you have like the knockoff, and everybody's like, I don't want the knockoff, even though it's price.
Well, like for example, like even though it's not really a knockoff anymore, but it is now, is like a Motorola or a Samsung. People are buying the Samsung, they're not buying the Motorola. You know what I mean? People are buying the Nike, they're not buying Brooks or whatever the fuck,
Correct, right? Even though they look similar, right? They could be 90% similar. They're not gonna buy the Brooks over the fucking Nikes. And that's the way it is,
I also want to give a shout out to Dr. Zodiac's Moonrocks for having this beautiful thing. I'm doing another product plug right now. I'm currently puffing on the double chamber all-in-one. It's got 2 grams, 2 different flavors. All right, there's 2 different flavors of concentrate in there, and they're both delicious flavors.
You can hit one side, it's one flavor. You hit the other side, it's one flavor. Then we hit both of them, it becomes a third flavor. So flavors.
Right. I should say that. It's delicious. What states are the products in right now?
California, Arizona. We're going into Michigan, Maryland, Ohio. We're partnered with Nirvana. Nirvana is working with us on the manufacturing and distribution, and they're in a lot of different states, and we're going with them into these different states like Maryland, Ohio, Montana, Michigan, Illinois. So it's been a beautiful experience working with them, and we're getting into all these different states. So it's going to be really cool to get the brand, 'cause they're selling the fake stuff in the streets already. So demand is there. It's like, okay, well, let's get them the real stuff now, the quality stuff now, the stuff that's going to taste bomb, get them lit. So we're excited for that.
actually change their lives.
Yeah, and it won't be who knows what.
The pain goes away.
Dude, I mean, I gotta say, my background's in design and branding and that stuff, and I love like the branding you do, the design you do. I mean, the logo on the hat is really dope. So yeah, I'm really impressed by how everything looks and how everything's packaged. I mean, it's legit. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you. This bunny actually came out in 2001. This was this was a Sik Fuk bunny, and the Sik Fuk bunny in 2013 became the Moonrock bunny. And it's actually a bunny that's for Sik Fuk and for Moonrock, but more people know it for Moonrock because Moonrock exploded. But this is back from 2001, and yeah,
That's cool. I like, what? I want to get more into the lore of Moonrocks too, because there is like you have a lot of you tell a lot of stories in your products, right? Like Bobby Blues. You know what I mean? So tell us a little bit about tell us a little bit about that, how you do that with your product.
yeah. Under Moonrock is like 14 other brands. You know, it was Moonrock first, and now we have vapes. We have 2 gram Big Home Life resin vapes. We have dual chamber devices. We got dynamite sticks, 5 gram Moonrock blunts. We got 2 gram Moonrock blunts. We got donuts, hash hole blunts with the glass tip. We got pre rolls. We got mini pre rolls. We got moon dust, which looks like powder in the bag. It's THC acid, 90%. We got so many different products, man. To be honest with you, we got a lot of stuff, but the menu's very thick, And this is some of the, you guys can see some of that I've made, some of them. So we got, Bobby Blues was named after my brother. He his name was Bobby. He used to surf. He was a bodybuilder, personal trainer, and he was in Redondo Beach, and he ended up passing away in 2016. And he started, dabbling a little bit, and they found him, you know, passed away. He was 34. So we did that in commemoration of my brother. Um, God bless, rest in peace to my brother. Really cool guy, happy guy, buff guy, good looking dude. And everybody loved him, man. And funeral, there was a line outside of the church. The pastor said, man, I've never seen any service with that many people. So he had a lot of love, Bobby was a good dude. And that's how that brand, we made that for my brother, man. And I used to like to surf and stuff like that. He lived in Redondo Beach, California, so it was a cool little spot. Then we have another brand called Linwood Lemonade. I grew up in Linwood, California, so that's how that brand came about. Ghost was my best friend growing up, so we made a brand called Ghost for him. It's got the little ghost character on it. My homeboy did the lettering and then drew the little cartoon character throwing up the Moonrock. But yeah, Ghost is a real cool, crazy dude, and he got his own brand. My dad had his brand for a little bit, Big Danny's, but later, my dad passed away too. Rest in peace to Pop. This is my dad right here. He passed away 2 years ago, but he was a big dude like my brother, always hitting the gym and
Yo, he looks jacked in that photo. No lie, he looks jacked, bro. His shoulders are so big, dude.
when he was 71, he was still doing pull-ups, push-ups. I mean, he was pretty buff. And he ended up, getting I told him, I was telling everybody, don't get the damn vaccine. He got it. 2 weeks later, he had a stroke. And then they brain tumor, grade 4 glioblastoma. So, they gave him like 6 months to live. I started taking care of my dad. And he ended up living 2 years longer than they expected. On May 6th in 2003. But we made his brand. He did a lot of stuff. When he was younger, he was in gangs, getting loaded on a lot of different substances. And when he was 40, he quit everything and he started working for the city, helping the kids in juvenile hall, kids going in and out of prison. He started mentoring them and guiding them to get off of drugs, get jobs, transition back into society. And they listened to him because he had been through similar experiences. So he did a lot of good for the city of Watts and Los Angeles. Uh, yeah, 42 on, he never got loaded again. He'd have a sip here and there, but
Yeah, that's an amazing story. And yeah, I lost my dad, a couple of years ago, so I know what that feels like, man. It's a big deal, but you're definitely honoring him with with his own product. That's awesome, man. That's super cool.
yeah, it was cool. But we did it for a little bit, and then he was like, because of religious convictions, like, hey, shut down. So we stopped selling it. But whatever you wanted, we're like, yeah, that's fine, pops, whatever you want to do. So we did it for a little bit. It was real cool. It had a picture of him on it and all that. And that was a cool little brand, man.
Sorry for your losses, man. I know that can't be easy to take years that like not too far apart. So I really am sorry for that.
Yeah, it was a barrage, 2016, 2017, my mom died 3 months after my brother, and then 2023, my dad. So it was like, these big hits that affected, my business and affected me and affected everything. So it really kind of like, you know, opened my eyes and had me take a pause from everything. But, now I feel like I'm mentally, you know, stable and ready, and willing to push and get this thing cracking. It's been like that for the last year. So I've just been going full throttle, getting things to where they needed to be. I took a hiatus for a couple years, me taking care of my dad. Now I'm back and yeah, just staying positive, working out, eating healthy. I'm on a little cleanse and just trying to do as much as I could to get the brand as big as it could be, you know, as strong as it can be, as good as it can be. Trying to just perfect, you know, it from every angle. And Demetrius has been a big part of that, you know, helping with us at production, you know, making sure the quality's good, creating new products. So we have a really solid team right now. We're just getting everything solidified, strong, and united. And yeah, man, there's no reason why we're not gonna, you know, become number one soon for sure. Especially in a
Let's zoom out a little bit. You know, it seems like you know you're a serial entrepreneur. You're constantly creating. You understand branding and marketing and packaging. I'm just curious, in your opinion, what makes a good leader? What makes a good CEO of a company? If they're going to go and if somebody's watching this and they want to go down this road, what do you recommend that they, you know, focus on?
I can't speak for other CEOs, you know, because everybody I think has a different program and style, you know. I could only say, you know, what worked for me, and I'm far from perfect, you know. Like managing is very stressful, you know, supervising, overseeing, like it's a lot of things you think about, right? And from the moment you open your eyes from to the moment you close your eyes, it's something that's, at least in my head, it never ends. So many things to do, so many things to remember, so many people to call, there's a lot of things to do. So it can get overwhelming. But I think it's building a good team so that you're not doing it alone. Getting some key people in certain positions that can lead within your team, right? So I think building a solid team is very important.
What's your way of managing people? This is something that I think about a lot in past startups I've been in, where it's really about like you said, about building the right team, having the right people in place. What's your feeling about like when you work with people, getting the best out of them? What are the best ways, the best methods that you've found to be able to make that team great? If maybe they're falling short or whatever.
First, it's finding people that love what they do, because then it's not work per se, right? If they love what they're doing, they're not gonna look at it like, oh fuck, another day of work, right? So then there's less that you have to do to motivate them or to push them. They're doing it themselves because they love to do it. So, you know, fire fast, hire slow. That's a model I heard, and it makes sense. Fire fast, hire slow. Take your time to find the right people that love what they're doing and fucking fire fast. You know, if people are fucking up, fire them fast.
Or if the fit's not right.
It sounds like Dave Ramsey. I used to listen to him a lot. He used to talk a lot about that.
Yeah. Because you're just dragging something on and the poison continues to spread through the company. You know, drag on.
He would say a lot of donkeys will get through. You're looking for thoroughbreds, all right? And sometimes donkeys get through and you don't realize it's a donkey until later and you're like, "Damn, I need thoroughbreds." And then you have to let go of the donkey. You have to put the donkey down and you have to go get a thoroughbred, and that
It ruins the morale. You know, if you have a bunch of people banging it out and then you have one lazy motherfucker, you know, or a couple, right? And it starts to spread, they're gonna be like, oh well, if this guy's not working, why the fuck should I? Right? It fucks up the morale. So, you know, yeah, it's not good to have, you know, people like that in a solid group.
Which one is more important, marketing or product?
I don't know what's more important. I would say, fuck, they're both important, right? But I'll just give you two scenarios. You could have the best product in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you're not going to sell any of it. You know, it's like having a diamond under your pillow, the biggest diamond in the world. Nobody knows about it. You're fucked. So marketing, I would say, is a little more important, but you have to have quality for longevity, because if not, people are going to find out and it's not going to last. You know, you can only fool motherfuckers for so long. So I would say marketing is more important, but you definitely need quality product. So you need the best quality, You need the best marketing to be number one. And that's that, you want to strive to be the best. You want to strive to have the best quality. You want to make sure your team is, thoroughly going through everything, making it as good as it could possibly be, making sure the marketing is as good as it possibly can be. So, I think, we got a good crew right now. They're definitely, making sure everything's really good. I run the whole marketing and the design and all that stuff. I went to school for graphics. I went to school for film, or for producing, directing. So we've done a lot of merch. We've had, the Golden Boy account. We did all the fight shirts for Canelo, for Cotto, for Khan, Oscar De La Hoya, Golden Boy Boxing, Patron Tequila, Snoop Dogg, Wu-Tang. I mean, we've had some big, clients on board for Visual Blast media team that that we run. And with us, it takes time to create everything that we do. We never rush anything out. You can't rush perfection. So we just really craft it and mold it until it's perfect. And then we put it out. So, all the packaging, when you feel it, when you hold it, when you look at it, like it looks like a diamond. It's as good as it can be. That's what I really spend a lot of time on at the lab is creating these commercials and music, packaging, the production. They're getting the best flour, kief, rosin, all the components, whipping up the Moonrocks. We have Moonrocks made with rosin coming out soon, so those are going to be cool. We made those back in 2017. We're resurrecting that idea now in Arizona, so it'll be pretty cool.
When you first started, it was just California, right? So how has the transition been with dealing with the different states with this product? Do you plan for all the production? It's obviously going to be local to the state for each for the products when you expand out, right? They're not going to be made in one state and shipped to different states. They're going to be made locally.
Not until it becomes federally regulated. That right now it's per state.
So would you want to do it in one central location?
Preferably, I think that would be better. That way everything,
I guess cheapest, consistent, most consistent, right?
that would be the most consistent way to do it, I think.
Do you feel that in general, the cannabis? I mean, do you feel like cannabis industry are regulators opening up more, and does it seem like it's going to grow, and be able to be in more places? And I know I'm out here in Florida, and there's still a little bit of like, you got to go to a doctor and get the card, that bullshit. I miss California in that sense. Like you just do your thing, and
It's just a matter of time. You have people, gatekeepers in certain positions that don't want that to happen, right? They're making their money. And if that happens, it's less money for them. So they're going to push as hard as they can to prolong that as long as they can. But
Until they have control, because I saw that Philip Morris, the tobacco companies are starting. I'm pretty sure are looking into starting to grow cannabis. Because they want to be in this market too. They want to be in the smokers market, right? All these big tobacco companies. So they're probably lobbying against it hard because they're like, no, we are not ready for this yet. We want to have our own farm set up and we want to be ready to produce and create products for the smokers, and we're not ready. So I think that's a huge thing, dude.
Well, look at what's happening in Tennessee right now, right? Like they allowed all the THCA products, but no like THC products, and now they're going back on it. Now you can't get the THCA products. Looks like they're gonna legalize it, and then when they legalize it, everything will be open season again, right? But like they keep playing these little regulation games, and I mean, I have some friends in Tennessee, and they say that there's some cops and there are some people in government that own companies that are trying to get all their licensing and stuff in order before they push it through.
Yeah, power plays. But it's coming. All that means is that like the writing's on the wall. If the big corporations see it and they're trying to get their money in, then everyone knows it's going to be legal soon, or at least completely decriminalized some sense of the way, but removed from the list.
we're looking to get in Germany, into the German weed market.
Take Moonrocks to the moon. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, man. Yeah, it's a big world, and we want to get into all the different markets for sure.
And then the medicinal side, people are finding out about it. I mean, t speaking about the whole can we say that now on YouTube's the vid, all that shit? Like, I'm gonna well, I shouldn't say exactly, but someone in my life who I care a lot about, had the same problem, older, and, she's having challenges with her memory and all kinds of stuff, and so I've been researching a lot about, how cannabis can help with that and all kinds of things, so I think that, um, this whole I think it's bullshit, the whole, regulation of this thing and trying to gatekeep it and the whole history of it is really just sad.
Of this beautiful plant, bro. Why you guys want to keep people from this plant, bro?
Yeah, there's so many people that could. I mean, I just imagine all the people over the years who could have benefited from it, and so
A lot of medical qualities to it, especially for pain. You know, people overdosing on opiates, they could be prescribed cannabis, which definitely helps pain. Why give them something that's so addictive like a Percocet or a Vicodin or a Norco? And so many people every year die from that. I've had friends that overdosed on pills. So, it's, I had a couple friends that passed away from pills. So,
Or worse, they can't get their script anymore, and then they start searching for harder drugs, right? I like, I and yeah, and I've had that happen to some friends, and it's horrible, so I agree, and I love cannabis. Have you always been like, when did you know you loved cannabis as a plant? You said you started, slanging at 18, you were out there. When's the first experience you had with cannabis?
I was walking for about 4 hours from a medicinal standpoint, and my knees were throbbing. I mean, for 4 hours of walking, I felt like just throbbing pain in my kneecaps. And I remember, the year prior, I actually, you know, was taking care of some things. And when I was younger, I got prescribed painkillers, Norcos before Vicodins. And I shattered my ankle. I had 17 screws in my ankle. And the doctor prescribed me pills, and I started taking the pills and having a beverage with them. And, it wasn't good because it felt good. It helped the pain, but it was, a little bit addictive, So later on, when I was walking for 4 hours and that pain was just blasting out of my kneecaps, we lit up a Moonrock joint. And I remember the pain just disintegrating like that after that one hit. And I was like, damn, one hit and the pain goes away like it really did after one hit. And that's when I was like, fuck, dude, this shit helps like a motherfucker for pain. And then I started thinking about all the pain medication that people are given. And I was like, this would be a much better alternative to give to these patients than Norcos or Vicodins or things like that. So that's when I really knew the medical benefit.
The medical benefits, yeah.
damn man, I want to smoke weed now. Is there any step ladder to Moonrocks? Is there like Moonrocks Junior or something like that where new people who maybe
Just weed, bro, just smoke some weed.
but I want good weed. I want like Moonrocks quality weed.
Yeah, we made Moonrock light.
Okay.
It was the worst idea ever because
Nobody bought it?
nobody bought it. The whole point of a Moonrock is to get fucked up, right? So
Blasted, bro.
Moonrock light, it's like defeats the purpose of smoking a Moonrock. So that idea didn't go anywhere. We actually made one batch, and that was the last time. That was like back in 2016 or something. I forgot who it wasn't my idea too. It was somebody's idea. We were like, okay, right.
I mean, if someone's new to the weed game, I'm just saying.
Moonrock light.
If you're new to the weed game and you wanna get a Dr. Zodiac's product, get some Fuzzy Wuzzies, all right? You got weed with kief. You can't go wrong.
Bro, you guys trying to kill people. If you're new to the weed game, rob your 70-year-old uncle. His weed will be okay for you, bro. Like, don't you guys are crazy, bro. Like, I don't know.
I will say this. I mean, one thing I liked before I left California for Florida you know, you go into MedMen and they'd have all these different like non-smoking products, and I really like I don't know who made it, but they're making weed drink, and I like that stuff because
No.
they did have different levels of like THC, and so you could like go
Are you talking
light
like
with it,
like
or
a syrup?
no, it's
No,
like
it's
it was
like
an
a
actual bottled
carbonated
drink that
Oh,
you
beverage.
could drink.
but
You
because
know, and I like
when you say sorry, I'm sorry. It's my fault. When you say drank, the way you said it, it means something. So
oh,
I
it
was
does.
just
Okay, I didn't know
clarifying.
that.
Sorry.
Sorry,
So like pop, like a
yeah,
pop.
soda,
It's
soda.
so
Yeah. We have that here too. Yeah.
Gotcha. Didn't mean to lead anybody down. a
No,
different
well,
path
because
there.
because what we also have, it's lean, but it's weed lean.
Gotcha.
yeah,
So it
it's like
looks, it comes in a
THC
cough
syrup.
syrup bottle. Yeah, it's THC syrup,
Oh,
right?
shit.
And you
Yeah,
mix it
yeah,
with your
that.
Sprite and Jollies, you know?
Oh, shit.
Which look, I totally am for because I'm tired of all these people drinking lean, bro. Like, are you kidding me? That is a horrible drug. It's a horrible drug. It's just as bad as all the other drugs. Go sip some THC syrup. You're just as cool. You are just as cool for drinking a whole bottle of THC syrup. Look, if you can drink that whole bottle of THC syrup with your Sprite and you don't pass out, you're cool as fuck, bro. That's a lot of THC. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Now look, you're actually physically cooler too, right? Because um opiates raise your body temperature and marijuana lowers it. So you are literally cooler.
I guess what the reason I'm bringing it up is I'm just curious if there's any desire or plan to, I don't know, Moonrock soda.
We had a syrup called Moonwalk, and it was some right. The grape, pineapple. We had all the different flavors. You pour it in your Sprite. So yeah, in California it was called Moonwalk.
the moonwalk would absolutely sell, bro. I'm telling you that would sell. People would if you just get the right fucking label on it, it's gonna sell, dude.
We have the labels. Everything's done. Yeah.
Have you tried these yet?
No, that's sick. I didn't know he had his own blunt. To
Yes, sir.
Cal.
Goes on backwards.
A good album. I remember bumping that back in 95, 94.
Yes, sir.
Good album. Method Man's a really cool motherfucker. I met him one time at a Wu-Tang show. I was backstage, and I had a Sik Fuk t-shirt with the bunny logo on it. It said Sik Fuk on the bottom. And Method Man was in the he was in the backside of the stage, you know, and I was right there, and I was like, "Hey, what's up, Meth? How you doing?" Shook his hand. I'm like, "Hey, I got you a t-shirt." He fucking took his shirt off, threw it on, went in front of the stage, rocked in front of the whole fucking crowd
Oh,
with the
shit.
Sik Fuk bunny shirt on.
That's so dope.
When I met him, I think he was a little dusted, you know, he was smoking some of that good stuff.
Dude,
Smoking that
Wu-Tang back in the
Sherm.
day?
Oh yeah,
Come
bro.
on
He was
now.
they were sherming it back in the day, bro.
Yeah. So fucking, you know, he was super cool, man. And I didn't really know him that well back then. You know, he didn't know me. I just was a dude walking up, handing him a Sik Fuk shirt, and he liked it.
Yeah,
Fucking
but it's
threw
a sick shirt, bro. Like that's a sick logo, right?
Bro,
Like,
maybe it's time to bring that brand back. Put it
Yeah,
under the thing.
talking about that and slowly putting together some new merch with the Sik Fuk stuff on it. So yeah, I mean, it had a cool following. You know, people really love that brand. So
That's dope.
I'm
That's
gonna do
dope.
that. I'm gonna do that for sure.
That's awesome,
Moonrock
man.
clothing, Sik Fuk clothing.
I just love the creativity and the inspiration and all that kind of stuff, man. I love people that are just constantly like they're just creative and they're building things, you know. So respect to that, man. I don't know, Fresh and Deezy, you have any other questions or things you wanted to ask him about? I don't know if there's
I
anything that comes to mind.
mean, not much, man. Definitely would love if you could put in a word with some of these fucking artists that you know, or some of these people that you know. You know, we're trying to build our brand here at the Goat Show. We're trying to reach out to the network of our network to get the next person on and you know, hopefully get to that next level. And if you have any ideas of people that would be great interviews, even if you think that someone on a higher level of fame would also be willing to step in to someone
Or just
small interview, or any cool entrepreneurs or any cool
right.
business owners or anybody that you know that you want to help give some promo to, anything really. We're really just trying to grow off your network and
For
off
sure.
our network, So if you have any ideas,
I'll reach out to some people and talk to them about getting them on your show for sure.
Yeah, and we just love to talk to great people. That's the whole concept of the show. The goat show. People who are goats. It doesn't have to be a goat like goat. I mean, obviously, we'd love to have goats on, but if someone's just great at what they do, or someone that inspires you, we'd love to have them on and talk to them as well. So,
Sure.
yeah. Well, if that's it, listen, Dr. Zodiak, we like to toast the goats on the show. You are definitely
Cheers,
one of the
man.
goats.
Cheers,
So
brother.
cheers to you. Much success.
Yeah. Moonrocks will go down in history as
Appreciate you guys.
the best in the galaxy. Is that right?
Oh yeah.
Is that the branding? Am I right on that? Or is it the
Yeah.
best in the
Yes, sir.
universe?
Yeah, but we got different slogans. One is strongest bud in the galaxy. Another one is you have to contact NASA to get on this level. We got different ones. Always coming up with different shit.
Yeah.
But those are some of them that we have on the packaging.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Yeah, this is fantastic. And I appreciate you taking the time out because I know you're super busy. You got a lot going on. Fresh.
Shout out to the production crew out there in AZ, California. Shout out to the Visual Blast Media team. Shout out to the family and the friends and everybody out there, man, supporting the movement. You could check us out at zodiacsmoonrock.com. My Instagram is dr.moonrocks. And the YouTube channel is Dr. Zodiak TV. You could see all the Felony Fight stuff. You could see all the Snoop Dogg videos that he did promoting the brand. You could see all the commercials, all the different, things we've done over the years. So check it out. Be on the lookout for some new stuff with Demetrius whipping it up, man. Some new concoctions.
All of those links are going to be in the video, so you can go click those links just down below. So don't worry if you didn't hear it. Look down. You'll see it.
Yes, sir. And just before we leave, like, subscribe, hit the bell, drop a comment, and come with us to the moon.